Margaret hated her name. Her parents were determined to use it and yelled at her for her objections and desire to just be called Margie. And her disdain for the name only grew more severe as Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister during her engagement to Dennis Thatcher. Dennis, that's Dennis with two N's, not one, as she told countless reporters, was a cheerful, lively man, and she knew that it would only break his heart if she told him she would not take his last name. So the two became wed, and she became Margaret Thatcher. Just not that Margaret Thatcher. One summer morning, Dennis went out for a jog to work off some of his weight when something unfortunate happened. Two younger gentlemen, Chad and Brad, were playing frisbee in the park and asked if Dennis would like to join. Eager to make new friends, as he always was, Dennis joined in for their game of frisbee golf. A ridiculous game where you shoot frisbees into a basket. Dennis's frisbee went towards the road, and he dived to catch it. That dive was the last he ever took, as he slammed himself skull first onto the cement. Desperate to make ends meet without her sweet Dennis, she did the one thing that she swore she'd never do. She began to use her name to her advantage. Margaret Thatcher's baking service, here to prime your meals and make you a little bit sweeter. So sinful that you'll have to confess to your minister. News about Dennis's death, along with her UK flourishes, made Margaret Thatcher's baked goods more popular than she could handle. Her supplies were wearing thin, and the demand only grew higher. What she needed was a crew. The death of Dennis Thatcher weighed heaviest on the mind of coach Ron MacDowland, who had sent his star athletes, Brad and Chad, to play frisbee golf at the park to begin with on the day of Dennis's death. He had been quite stingy on funds and sent the pair to play on a walking trail as opposed to driving them to a real course. Ron MacDowland knew that families, small children, and runners frequented the park and that there were no frisbee golf baskets, let alone a course. But he just didn't feel like taking the van that day to go the 15 minutes to the actual course, so he could use the funds he saved to provide Margaret Thatcher with the funds she needed. Knowing this, and with a roaring hatred for Brad and Chad, she studied forensics and created a new Sunday limited time special, Frisbee Tarts.